Well, good morning and welcome back to the corner. Oh my God. Good morning. Welcome back to the corner. It has been over a month since I've done a proper podcast episode. We are here today for a proper podcast episode, the last one of 2022, which means I'm going to today also do a year in review. So stay tuned after the FO and whip walkthrough for my little breakdown of my year in review, where I tell you what I finished and what I'm going into 2023 with, what I want to do in 2023. Yeah, just a quick overview of how 2022 went for knitting and crochet. Real quick, I am moving forward with this episode today as though you have watched Vlogmas. So any projects that I finished during Vlogmas, any updates on projects that I gave you during Vlogmas, I am just pretending that you already saw those. So if you feel like you missed some stuff and it bothers you, maybe go back and watch those, because I won't be going over any of the things I talked about in Vlogmas because it's there if you want to see it. If you don't, it's fine. You know, you'll be seeing some new stuff today, and that's totally okay. I have brought out all of my active whips. Yes, and there are a lot of them. It's very whip heavy today, but you know, I cast on some new things. I have a lot of things going. Actually, I think there might be one more. Hold please. All right, now I have all my active whips. First things first, I will show you my FOs. Oh, I didn't introduce myself. Hi, my name's Leigh. I am out of practice because I've been doing Vlogmas rather than podcasting. So I'm a little bit out of practice with the podcast, but here we go. We're here. It's normally a really casual space anyway, so if you're new here, welcome. It's kind of chaotic, but that's fine. All right, FOs. The first FO I have to show you is a surprise FO. I wasn't planning on finishing this, but I'm super glad I did. This was actually when I went to go check my Ravelry project pages just before this video. This was actually still in hibernation on my project pages. But I finished my cool cap. This is the second cool cap. It is a pattern by Park Williams. It's my second cool cap. It's just called a cool cap. But this is the second one I've knit. And this is a homegrown yarn from Flower Hill Fleeces. She is a local shepherdess and yarn dyer near me here in Pittsburgh, PA. And this is yarn from one of her sheep, undyed. And I just loved it. I thought it was a great marled black yarn. And I had knit this yarn into a hat before that turned out huge, like monstrously large. So I decided that it was finally time, rather than letting it sit unworn, that I would knit I would frog it and knit a different hat out of it. And I decided on a cool cap. I can't remember, it's worn like this. And it's great. Look at that. This is my first time wearing it. It's actually still a little bit damp. So this is my first time like properly trying it on since it's been washed. And you can see that if you saw any progress on it, that it was looking kind of lumpy because it had been frogged and re-knit, the yarn. But it ended up looking great. I love how it turned out. And I love that it's done. I'm not going into 2023 with this on my needles anymore. And I'm very happy about it. So I'm going to go put this back on its blocking board so that it can continue to dry because it is still damp. But I have one more FO to show you. And this is a Christmas gift for Brad. If you saw Vlogmas, you saw the entire process of this, me starting it, deciding to start it, all of that stuff. But I've finished Brad's Inclinations cowl. And it's so good. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and this is the second one of these I've knit as well. I've knit myself one before that you may have seen. But this is the color combo I picked for him. Now, I didn't come up with this color combo all on my own. I copied a friend. She knit one of these for her husband, And I was like, oh my God, those colors are perfect. I absolutely love them. What are they? And I copied her. And I'm so glad I did because this looks so good. It turned out perfect. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with this. It's so good. The main color is all one color. It is not a color changing yarn. It is Malabrigo Arroyo in the color Vulcan. I can't remember what number that is, but it is the color Vulcan. I bought it at my local yarn shop. We are currently out of that specific color, but we do still have the color changing yarn in stock, which is Shopal Wool edition 3, which is a sport / DK weight color changing yarn. A very good substitute for like a spin cycle type. And it is the color 2328, I believe. I don't know the name of it, but it's number 2328. It's so good. Vulcan is this orangey, browny orange color that you see through everywhere. And it's just amazing how different it looks up knit into this pattern, these two colors together. And now Brad has an easy neck accessory to wear, so he doesn't have to think about how to wear a scarf. Done. Oh, I have a hair on it. And that's it for FOs. Rather than finishing some things, I've decided to cast on a million things. And by a million things, I mean 2 sweaters. All right, let's talk about whips. I'll save the new cast-ons for last. This project here in my Paisley and Gold sewing bag, my large Hamilton, my large green Hamilton, is a project I started for Christmas, and then it has been sitting untouched for quite a while. I don't know if I'm going to finish this season, this winter season, or if it's going to end up sitting around for a while. I don't know. I'm not putting pressure on myself. But this is my holiday doodle cowl. Here we go. First page. This is a design by Pacific Knit Co. Janie. And I am making it in this version. Like, you can make it in several different like shapes, but I'm doing this tubed infinity twisted version where most of it is just this flea stitch with a section of doodles. So I'm doing this, but I'm knitting mine out of Brooklyn Tweed Arbor in the colors, oh Lord, they are in here. The main color is Treehouse. Well, I guess the main color is Treehouse. And then for contrast colors, I am using Tincture, Hammock, and Alizarin. These are my colors. And I got this far on this. Oh my God, this is as far as I got. There's this little section, and then you immediately start with some doodles, and then once you're through with the doodles, you do a big section of this and then join it. But I am right where I'm supposed to start my first doodle, and that's where it's been sitting. Like, it's beautiful. Look at these colors. I'm obsessed. So good. But it's not the thing. It's not the thing right now. I just haven't been working on it, haven't been wanting to work on it, have been working on other things. And that's that. I won't linger on it too long. Also, another quick mention, because I haven't been touching it, is here in my Woodsy and Wild project bag are my November striped socks. That's right, November. These are still not done. I was keeping them by the computer and working on them while I edited and stuff, but that project has been replaced now, so now they haven't been touched at all. I need to move them back to the computer. But I made it down the leg and through the heel, and I've started the foot of the first sock. And that's it. Oh, I know. I'm not doing any contrast color for these, and I'm doing just a vanilla sock. My vanilla sock recipe is always written down in the description box below. And these are Nomadic yarn in the color First Frost, which is gorgeous. Like, look at the colors here. So beautiful. we won't linger on that one either. All right, the project that has been sitting at the computer and has been getting a little bit of work is a sample sock that I am knitting for the yarn shop. If you don't know, my local yarn shop that is closest to me, there are two that are about equidistant, but one of them is also where I work sometimes. I pick up shifts there every once in a while. So I'm working on a sample for the shop of my sock pattern, the bond weave socks, in a shop yarn so that I can just leave them there. The shop can have them permanently. So I am knitting these in a small size, the 56 stitch size. And I am using a Malabrigo sock yarn in the color Gingy. And I absolutely adore this color. Like, look at the subtle variation in this color. Now, this is the classic Malabrigo sock, which is 100% superwash merino, which I don't mind for socks. I have several pairs of socks in 100% superwash merino and they are fine, but I am not very hard on socks. I would never use this sock yarn for like Brad. He is very, very rough on socks. But for a shop sample, for sure, it is definitely okay. And even for me, it would have been fine. Like, I'm just not that rough on my socks. But yeah, that's how far I am on it. I am probably 2/3 of the way down the foot. So there we go. My bond weave socks. This is a pattern that I designed. It is available on Ravelry and Etsy if Ravelry is inaccessible to you. All right, other whips. I have my December striped socks, and these are in my Mountain State Stitches project bag, the Christmas one that I got this year. I adore it. And I am much farther on my December socks than I am on my November socks. These are knit in tandem. I am knitting them on separate needles, but both at the same time. Like, I'll knit a cuff and a cuff, a leg and a leg, a heel and a heel, etc., etc. So these are being knit in tandem, and I am currently on the foot of one sock. There's the leg and the heel. And the other sock, I am just through the heel. So I have two socks going. Their stripes are opposite, which I think is super cute, but besides that, they're matching. And I am using Area 51 fibers. Area 51 fibers in the Sturdy Alien base, which is an 80/20. And the color is called Ugly Christmas Sweater Speckle Donut. And that is my main color. Self-striping. It's so cute. Look at it. I am doing a 3x1 broken rib for the sock pattern texture. And the contrast color that I'm using for the heels and toes is just a Knit Pick Stroll in the color Strawberry. There we kind of. Oh my god. You were so close. There we go. Knit Pick Stroll in the color Strawberry. So that's those. These are kind of my vanilla knitting when I want to pick up something that is absolutely mindless. These are the ones I've been picking up. All right, I have one more sock whip. Nope, lies. I have two more sock whips. We'll talk about this one real quick. This one is kind of a weird whip because it is a design, like one of mine. I'm working on a new design. And this is in my new little project box. It's got two handles. And it's sturdy, and it's got a zipper pouch on two of the outside sides, and it is stacked full of pockets. It's got pockets all around all four sides on the inside. And this was made for me by a friend, my friend Rebecca from Knit Group. She made this for me and I am in love with it. This has become my design box. Ooh. So I have like pen and pencil in here, I have scissors, I have bits and pieces of design work. Like I have just a whole cuff in here, and I have the sample of the texture for the design I have in here now. I have a little notebook in the bottom, along with a tiny notions pouch for note-taking and for notions. And I have my current sock design. This is being knit out of a Woolberry Fiber Co. sock set in Frozen Lake, I think. This is the contrast color. I will be doing a contrast toe and heel for this design. And I have, so far, just gotten this far. It has a nice, long, plumpy rolled cuff for extra warmth and coziness, and I also just think it's super cute. And then this is what the texture is starting to look like on the leg. So I'm just kind of slowly working on this. I want to have it done this winter sometime because it is definitely like a wintry vibe. But besides that, no real news on it yet. But watch this space. I have to change the battery in the camera. All right, we'll see how long this battery lasts. I don't know how charged either of these batteries were. Vlogmas was a whirlwind. But I have a battery in the charger, so I'm gonna leave that one there. And if I need to change the battery again, I will. I have one more sock sock whip here. But I decided that I deserved, no, not really. I mean, I do. I always deserve to cast on whatever I feel like casting on, because everyone does. But I decided that I wanted to cast on the Cider House socks by Summerlee. They're the super cute cable design. That is not too complicated, so I might actually finish them. And so far, so good. I am actually zooming on these. They're really nice. They're super mindless, but they don't look as mindless as they feel. So I have here my first sock, and look at that main color. Isn't it beautiful? Like, look at the tones in it. It really didn't come through in the skein how like the lights and darks would come out in this, but they're so beautiful. This is a sock set from Dragon Horde Yarn, and it is the Fairy Yule Tree sock set. Oh, this was my solstice cast on. How could I forget? Yeah, this was my solstice cast on. So it is the Fairy Yule Tree sock set. I got it last year. I don't think she had it this year, but it was this tweedy main color. And then it had these two non-tweed contrast colors that came with both of them. And this is how the first one is looking. I'm thinking, I will wing it when the time comes, but I'm thinking about switching the second sock to be opposite with the contrast colors. We will see. But I finished the heel. I did substitute the heel in the pattern for a Fish Lips Kiss heel because that's what I like. So I did substitute the heel, and I am, you know, that far down the foot. So these are coming along, and I think they're looking super cute. I tried them on. They look even cuter on. And these are my K-drama knitting. I have been knitting on them quite a lot. I'm sorry, I was looking, it looked like there was a mistake, but I think it was just a loose stitch. These have been keeping me company through my K-dramas this past week and a half. However long it's been since the solstice. And that's that. And those are living in my Black Pearl Magic pink bag. And that's it for sock whips. I have a hibernating sock that I'm not going to show you, and I have a couple of sock cast on plans that I haven't actually cast on yet. So those are all like TBD. I have 3 whips left still. This is gonna be a long episode, but you know what, that's fine. My last 3 whips are, I wish you could, well, you can see this, hold just a second. These are my last 3 whips. They're all in yellow bags. Apparently yellow bags are my sweater bags, because all 3 of these are sweaters. I have one sweater that you've seen before in Vlogmas, but not outside of Vlogmas. And then I have 2 new cast-ons. So the first one I'm going to show you is the one that you have seen if you watched Vlogmas. And this is in my pin bag. I call it that because I keep my pins on it. My knitting themed pins. And this is my Advent sweater. Now, there was no pressure on me to actually finish this during Advent. I just was casually working on it. So I have now introduced the 7th color in my Advent sweater. This is what it's looking like. Oh, I got them greens in there now. It's starting to look more like a rainbow. Isn't that fun? These are what the colors are looking like. Yeah, this was one of my Advents from last year. It was a Big Little Yarn Co. Advent. It was the yokai calendar. And it was the 12-day version. I bought the 12-day Advent. So I have 12 minis and then 1 big main skein. And I am knitting the Piece of Silver by Vera Valimaki. I don't have the pattern handy. I've got it tucked away somewhere. But it's basically just a vanilla turtleneck pattern. It's got fairly fitted sleeves, a fairly boxy body, but it's got these really gorgeous fat raglans that I'm in love with. Those are what really sold me on this. And I am just striping each of my Advent colors. I didn't put them in the order that I opened them in. They're in an order of color. They're in color order to make kind of a rainbow down to the bottom. And I will be using the main color again for the bottom hem and for the sleeve cuffs. And I'm just striping. I'm doing about 12 stripes of each color. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's also pretty vanilla knitting, so it's keeping me company when I don't want to think too hard. I'm just on Body Island, and then the sleeves are just going to be vanilla as well, but the stripes keep it interesting. If I was just knitting this all in one color, I don't think it would be nearly as much fun. So there we go, slowly but surely on this one. And that's that. Oh, I'm using the Advent calendar. I got it in the Peruvian fingering base, which is a non-superwash wool. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I knew it needed to be a garment because I love non-superwash for garments. I prefer non-superwash for garments. I think it holds its shape better. So there we go. That's that. My first sweater whip. Now my other 2 sweater whips are new cast-ons. Before I show them to you, I want to tell you a little bit about, this will overlap a little bit into my 2023 plans, because I have here in my knitting notebook, last year, I think at the beginning of last year, when I really started this notebook, I made a list in here of all of my sweater quantities that I had in stash. And it goes on for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. That's how many sweater quantities I had in stash. And I also wrote, well, you see, each one is like, it lists the sweater quantity, and then I have a list of possible projects I would like to make with the sweater quantity. This is like a full page, but it's only actually 7 sweater quantities. That's still a lot. Oh my God. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. There are some sweater quantities in here that are like getting kind of old, and I've had like certain plans in my head of what I wanted to do with them, and I just haven't done them yet. I'm the kind of person that doesn't buy sweater quantities without an idea of what I want to make with them, at least 1 or 2 projects in mind, like options. But there are several sweater quantities in here that I was like, I know very specifically I want to make this very specific sweater. And I decided that I was going to pick a couple of them and I was just going to cast them on. Like, if I know specifically I want to make this with this yarn, why not just go ahead and start it? So I did. I just went ahead and started 2 of them. Now one of these is pretty old. It's in my egg bag. I call it my egg bag because it has an egg pin on it. But this is one of my first sweater quantities I bought myself. It has been sitting in my stash for that long. But I wanted to make, my printer did a really bad job of printing this out, but I wanted to make the Vintage 83 top by Andrea Mowry. This is a pattern that came out in 2020, and it is a short sleeve cropped t-shirt basically, but it's got this brioche, two-color brioche striping on the yoke that I think looks really nice. It's knit out of Surrey with, as the contrast color, with the fingering weight main color throughout. And I hate brioche, absolutely hate it, but this is very simple two-color brioche, and in stripes. I'm hoping I can stay interested through it just to get through it because they're not very big, each color, and changing colors will be exciting. So I think I'll be able to make it through this project. But I finally started it so that I could get it going because I had yarn in stash. I actually need to cake up some of it because I'm ready to start the brioche. Wow. I have a collar done. It is a 2x2 ribbed collar and it is folded. My camera is having a hard time today focusing. Nice squishy folded collar. And I am using, for my main color, Coast to Coast Yarn Co. This is her, I can never keep them straight. It's one of her sock bases, but it's the 100% superwash merino base. And as you can tell, this is like deep stash. These are old labels and she only gives the fiber and the weight on it. But this is the color Button. And I got 3 skeins of this. I may need all 3, I don't know. But there are 438 yards in each skein. And yeah, that's the main color. It's a really beautiful, it looks white on camera because it's like blown out, but it's a really beautiful taupey color. A really pale, it's like a button mushroom, hence the name Button. And then the 3 contrast stripe colors I picked are, now I want to show you hers because mine may look similar if you don't see them immediately. But she's got like a cyan, a red, and a gold. I am doing these 3 colors. Ah, I love it. Mine has a slightly more 70s vibe, I think, which is very on brand for me. But I'm using the same yarn that Andrea Mowry used. It is Farmer's Daughter Fibers Oh Dang, which is her Surrey Silk base, or the Surrey Silk base. I have 1 skein of each. They're 50-gram skeins. And I have the colors Dirty Little Dandelion, Union Street State of Mind, and Salmon Berry. And I adore how these look together. I may do them in this order, or this order. I need to cake these up because it's time for me to start my brioche, so I get to actually do that today. I would have started it last night if I had caked these up ahead of time, but I didn't. So that's my job for today. This is what it all looks like together. I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of this top. It's about time I start it, so I did. I'm so happy that it's on the needles now. That's my first new cast on. Now the second new cast on is my last whip to show you today, but I am also super excited about this one. Same story. This yarn isn't quite as old stash as that one was, but it has, I bought it specifically for this project and I've been thinking about it a lot. Like every time I want to cast on a new project, I think about this sweater, and I'm finally just doing it. This is in my new bag from, my stepmom got this for me for Christmas. It was packed full of things, gifts, but it's from Cost Plus World Market. And it is like some sort of recycled fabric. And it's this beautiful thick cotton, like woven canvas. And it's got pockets everywhere. I actually have my yarn labels in here, so I can pull those out and tell you what colors I'm using. And in here I have, oh, I got Surrey fluff in my nose. I have my Twinkle. The Twinkle, here we go. Looks kind of like this. It is a pattern by Midori Hirose, and it is a colorwork yoked sweater, kind of. It's got a modified circular yoke. It's circular through the colorwork, and then there are raglans that go beneath the armpits, which I've done one sweater like that before, and I kind of liked it. It was pretty nice. But I'm knitting the Twinkle. Dang, she's gonna be a long episode today, y'all. And for this sweater, I purchased a selection of yarns from the, I can't remember the name of the collection, but it was from Coast to Coast Yarn Co. And it was the collection she did based on like memories and photographs that people submitted, like homegrown or hometown, something like that. And I have 3 colors. These are the 3. I have a main color, which is homespun quilt. This is what the body of the sweater is going to be knit in. And then for the color work, my 2 colors are petal and pearl. And pearl is like knit and purl with a U. Yes, pearl, like knit and purl. And these are my 3 colors that I got for this sweater. And let me show you how far I am on it, because I am a ways on it. It has been so much fun. This is a DK weight sweater, so automatically it goes a little bit faster than the fingering weight sweaters I tend to lean towards. But I am this far on the color work. This is a superwash merino base, so it will relax quite a bit in washing, but it's got these gorgeous little pricks of color here, and then I am working into the chevrons down here. I've just started the second gray chevron here. So that's how that's looking. Very, very soon, I will be able to incorporate my main color, and I'm very excited about that. Very excited to see how that knits up. It's going to be incredible. So yeah, I'm getting quite a ways into this. I'm very, very excited. This one I am knitting the 7th size. The way the sizes are broken down in this pattern are, it almost looks like she had made sizes and then decided to add like middle sizes, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sizes are included in this pattern. It is very size inclusive. It goes from a 2XS, 2 extra small, up to a 6XL. But there are 2 medium sizes, a medium 1 and a medium 2, that are only like a couple of, oh no, the medium 2 and the large are only ½ an inch different. So some of the sizes are pretty close, like in size, but it seems like she was adding in like in between sizes for people. I love how this is turning out. It's turning out exactly as I envisioned. I am so excited to have this sweater. It's going to be so nice. And this DK weight is so satisfying. It knits up so fast. Loving it. Yeah, that's what I got. It's got a real Americana vibe, and I'm here for it. And that's my last whip. This episode is gonna be so long because I have to do my year in review also. Before I do the year in review, I guess I should show you my acquisitions real quick because I have a couple. Now, my first acquisition I want to show you is actually like my new Notions pouch setup, because I got this from my friend Rochelle. She is Sassafras Knits, and if you haven't heard of her, she makes Notions. She makes mostly stitch markers and progress keepers, but she also makes bags and pouches, and they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. And she made me this custom patchwork pouch that is absolutely perfect. It is kind of like Polish pottery vibes. And I have this blue cow and these assorted woven cottons and linens. This is the back fabric. It's beautiful, so beautiful. I have a progress keeper pull on here that did not come on it. My friend Alinka made that, and I put it on there for funsies because it was a snowflake and it was winter. But Rochelle made me this, but another friend, my friend Rebecca, who made me the knitting box bag, she gave me a tin. It's got mushrooms on it. It also had a mushroom stitch marker in it, but I'm currently using it on one of my projects right now. But in here I have organized my Notions pouch, and I've put all of my small little Notions in here. Are my eyes blurry or are you blurry? I think the camera is actually blurry. So these aren't just loose in my Notions pouch anymore. I figured I got this and I got a new Notions pouch and I needed to do some reorganization. So now I have a container for my little bits, and I have this for my needles, and I am nice and organized now. So I love that. I also just got a new stitch marker from Rochelle that I purchased. I saw her post this one online and I absolutely had to have it. But I bought this new, she started making progress keeper stitch markers using vintage findings, and I absolutely adore this idea, like love it so much. But this is one that I saw online. God, my camera is having a, there we go. It's got these gorgeous little blue stones, and it's got this charm that's double-sided. There we go, that's the other side. So beautiful. Oh God, my nails. I didn't realize my nails were so bad. Oops, sorry. So I got that. And I got a mystery sock set from Murray & Company Wool Goods. You know, I love their mystery sock sets. And I got the December mystery sock set. And it is called Town Square Tree Lighting. And it is on the yak sock base, my favorite. Oh, look at it. Oh my goodness. It is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I'm so pleased. So happy. Those are all of my real acquisitions, I think. I may be forgetting some other things. I know I got some stuff for Christmas, but those are the most exciting ones, I think. Now let's go through my year in review. My year in review, 2022. But in 2022, I finished 78 projects. 78. That is, there are 52 weeks in the year. That's a lot. I'm a little bit shook at myself, honestly. Let's break down those 78 projects. Of those 78 projects, 6 of them were shawls / scarves / cowls. 9 of them were hats. 51 of them were socks. I finished 51 pairs of socks this year. That is almost a pair a week. That is 1 pair away from a pair a week in 2022. I finished 9 sweaters / tops. That includes, you know, summer tops, short sleeve, 1 bralette I think is included in that. And then for other, I finished 2 blankets. Now, some of these things I didn't start in 2022. I think one blanket I didn't start in 2022, but I finished it in 2022. And then 2 or 3 pairs of socks I didn't start in 2022. I finished them in 2022. So take that as you may, but I also am going into 2023 with 16 whips. That is my total number of whips, including ones in hibernation. So not active whips, just total whips, 16. Which, quite frankly, doesn't upset me. I'm pleased it's under 20. Now, active whips is less than that. I have quite a few of those are like in hibernation and not being touched. And I do have a couple of whips also that aren't included in that number that I plan on frogging. 2, I think, maybe 3 of them. Highlights of 2022 were I designed 2 sock patterns, my Bond Weave and my Alexander socks. I knit 1 shop sample that does not have a project page. I also knit 1 blanket that does not have a project page. So of all of these projects, all but 2, I think, are on Ravelry. And for my test knit rundown, I test knit 1 pair of socks, 1 hat, 1 sweater, and 1 cowl this year. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of test knitting, but I test knit like 1 of every category. So that's fun. And that is my year in review. That was 2022, all the knitting I did in 2022. I will have my Ravelry project pages linked below so that you can go and look and see what I did this year. You can filter it by finished in 2022 if you'd like. I want to talk about 2023 as well, because at the beginning of 2022, I started keeping track of my stash, and I had a stash down 2022 where I was keeping track of how many sweater quantities and sock yarns I was finishing in the year. And I lost track. Obviously, I finished 9 sweaters, so that would be 9 sweater quantities, but I've also had new ones come in, I think. Yes, I have had at least 1 or 2 new sweater quantities come in, but I have absolutely no idea where I am on socks because I had counted all of my sock yarn. And at the beginning of 2022, I had 113 skeins of sock yarn. I had a goal to use a certain number of them as well as sweater quantities. And I definitely met that goal because my goal to use for sock yarn this year was 35 skeins. And I definitely did that because I knit 51 pairs of socks this year. But I had a lot of sock yarn come in this year too. So I don't know what my total number is anymore. I totally lost track of how many were coming in and how many were going out. But my goal for 2023 is to actually get through some of this sock yarn. I want to use more than comes in. Now, I don't know for a fact that I didn't do that in 2022. Because I very well may have. In fact, if you look here, there's actually room on top of these 2 shelves here that I don't think was there before. Like, I think I actually have used a good bit of sock yarn. For sweater quantities, my goal was to use 10 sweater quantities. I used 9, but I think I definitely used more than came in. In fact, look at my DK weight shelf. This is my DK weight sweater quantity shelf. I only have 3 sweater quantities here now, and I am super proud of this. I would love to do this to my other sweater quantity shelves, which are over here. I have these 2, and then there's one more at the top. That one, fingering weight sweater quantities. Yeah, I would love to actually make a dent in some of these. I don't want to zero down my stash or anything. That's just not me. I love having a stash and I love being able to like bask in it and decide that I want to cast something on a whim and be able to shop my own stash. But I have a lot of really beautiful yarn that I would like to use. So my goal for 2023 is to use more yarn than comes in. That's it. That's my very simple goal. I also really want to get through some projects, like sweater projects specifically, that I've had in my stash for a long time. These 2 new cast-ons that I showed you are a big step towards that. I want to do that some more. I want to continue pulling out yarn from my stash and starting projects that I've been thinking about for years even at this point, and just get them done and just do them. Start them, get them going. I honestly am hindered at this point by my needle collection. I don't have a huge stash of needles because I normally have never been a person who keeps, you know, like 50 whips at a time. I'm just not her. But I am starting to get to the point where a lot of my sweaters require the same needle size. So I will need some more needles. I did place an order from Knit Picks the other day for 1 new set of needle tips and 3 new cables, because I really want to try their new steel cable. They have a coated steel cable, kind of like the Chalgu cable is supposed to be. So I'm gonna give those a shot and see how those go. But I'll also probably pick up some needles. You know, I work at a yarn shop. I can pick up needles anytime. So I'll be accumulating some more. I would really like in 2023 to finish a couple of my lingering sweaters. But I'm not putting pressure on myself. If I feel like I want to work on these new cast-on sweaters and I just work on them till they're done without worrying about lingering whips, I'm totally fine with that, and I'm totally happy with that. And that's just where I am right now in my knitting journey. If y'all joined me for Vlogmas this year, thank you. I appreciate you. I had a lot of fun with my first Vlogmas. It was chaotic at times, but overall, it was a good time. And I look forward to doing it again next year. I'm also looking forward to only doing 1 video a week again now though. Thank you for joining me today for my obscene number of whips and my year in review. If you have any questions, because I feel like the end of this went kind of fast, even though overall the video was very long. If you have any questions, please put them down below. I always check my comments, always. Even if I don't respond to every single one of them, I heart every one of them because I read every one of them. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to put all of the info I can in the description box. I don't bother putting links to individual project pages down below because there's a link to just my Ravelry page and you can find all my projects there. And I will see y'all next time.